Hey everyone, Wolf Lord Rho here. Before I begin today, a big thank you to Mike for the virtual gift voucher. Thank you very much for the support, my friend. I really appreciate it. Thank you. And so, Jaghatai Khan week comes to a close. I hope this week has opened some eyes to the depth of character of the Khagan, the man behind the Primarch. But we're not done yet, because today, the Khan rides out. Spoiler warning to begin, the events we are discussing today are from the Horus Heresy novel The Lost and the Damned by Guy Haley. As always, I really recommend you read the novel for yourself first, as that's the best way to enjoy the lore for yourself. Not only that, but we help to support the Great Black Library and Games Workshop, because without them, we don't have this great lore to talk about. I'll put a link in the description as always. But with that said, let's just jump straight in. Now, having reached Terra to make his stand before the traitor War Master, Jaghatai must adapt his nature to a way of war that he is not accustomed to, one behind walls. Everything is on the line, the entire survival of humanity. As overall commander, Rogal Dorn will do whatever it takes to stall the War Master, buying each and every second of time however he can. For every second that passes, Guilliman and his Ultramarines edge closer. But such circumstances have led Dorn to make decisions he may otherwise not have. Any and every able body is conscripted to the front lines, outside the walls of the palace, to stall the enemy in any way they can, thousands upon thousands of people. But this does not sit well with the Khan. And as the enemy bombardment ceases to unleash their next attack wave, the White Scars ride forth. But they will not do so alone. For the Angel Sanguinius is outside the wall amongst the people, bolstering the troops with his mere presence, the symbol of hope for a beleaguered Imperium. His men beseech him to retreat inside the walls. Enemy legionaries are inbound in force, not to mention countless mutant cultists. But the Angel will not leave. His brother will need him. "What do you foresee, father?" Raldoron asked quietly. "A need for assistance. The White Scars come." The screams of jets cut through the boom and thwack of the palace defences. High and pure, an orchestra of 1,000 engines. Land speeders, jet bikes, gunships and attack craft. A storm of white shapes dropped off the wall, then raced over the outworks towards the siege camp facing the Helios Gate. As soon as the threat registered, guns began firing again. The White Scars were heading courageously into a solid enemy barrage. Sanguinius smiled as his brother roared by on an oversized jet cycle and tilted stubby wings in salute. Mortals ducked. So close to the ground were the White Scars flying. Once they were past the final line, they flew lower still. On and on the stream of attackers went. 1,000 warriors in white, all mounted, all shouting melodic Chagorian war cries. At the edge of the Aegeus, they split into multiple flights, hugging the ground, dodging between the wrecks of ships and armoured vehicles from earlier days of fighting. Starbursts of shrapnel detonated among them. Swift lasers slashed out, unseating some of the Ordu, but the mass flew on, accelerating towards the enemy line until they were jinking blurs. The kilometres between the besiegers and the besieged were covered swiftly, and they were soon in range, firing their guns. Sanguinius watched transfixed. "He fights with such elegance," the Angel said. "He was ordered not to attack," asked Raldoron. "He is the Khan of the Ordu of the White Scars Legion." "The Warhawk of Chigoris," said Sanguinius. "One might as well attempt to chain the wind." "The enemy will be with us soon," said Raldoron. "What are your orders, father?" as Kellyan consulted with distant command nexuses. "My lord, we must return within the walls. The Death Guard are arriving in force. A third of their legion is bound for the palace battlesphere alone." Sanguinius looked skywards calmly. "Bring me my helm and my weapons. Retire our colours behind the walls. We fight." "You are at risk," as Kellyan said fiercely. Sanguinius responded with the disturbing mantra his sons had heard all too often. "I do not die today," he said. "And if I do not aid my brother on his return, he will. I have seen it. My sword, my spear. Man the ramparts alongside these brave warriors of the Imperium." His helm was brought, and Sanguinius locked it into place. "It is time at last for the 9th Legion to fight." Oh man, if you are not amped up enough with the charge of the White Scars sallying forth from the walls despite being ordered not to, Sanguinius is going with them. For he will not leave his brother to fight alone. And that line, "It is time for the 9th Legion to fight." Man, goosebumps right there. Back in the command room, the news is given to Dawn. The White Scars are sallying out. "Where's the Khan?" he asks. "Leading them," is the answer. And it's a great little scene. You can just hear Dawn's face drop to a silent fury. But he scrambles the fighters to cover his brother's retreat. Back on the battlefield, the Khan is like the wind, weaving between incoming fire. But his sons are not so lucky, and many are falling to the barrage. But still then, many survivors forming into squads to fight on foot. With cries of "For the Emperor," "For unity," "For the Imperium," Jaghatai urges his Ordu on, unleashing fire into the traitor siege engines. And as quickly as they arrived, the Khan orders their retreat. Their task completed. They must now retreat through the pillars of fire. But as the gas and smoke fills the field, a haywire shell fries the Khan's systems, sending him crashing to the ground. The Great Angel watched the gases of the Death Guard envelop the defence lines. Throughout, he kept his eyes forwards, following his brother's progress. He watched the haywire shells crackle and saw the Khan plunge into the gas. "There," he said. He pointed with the spear of Telesto into the gas. "The moment is at hand. Our foe blinds our communications, but you must find me. My brother, to the aid of my brother." Without waiting for acknowledgement, the angel is gone, launching into the air to the aid of the Khan. But the Khan is alone, and hundreds of Mortarians' mutated sons begin to close on him, bolters blazing. With no other option, the Khan is amongst them, hacking and slaying as he goes, the press of bodies the only relief from the level of fire. His fury would have inspired 1,000 bards had any been able to see it. The fogs made his fight a lonely struggle. Hidden from all knowledge, he faced the Death Guard alone, his Vox and Locator beacon jammed by haywire ordnance. The enemy died by the dozen, for not one was the match of a Primarch. But though he fought like a god of old, he was but one being against an army. And it's then the Khan takes a blow to the back of his knee. A simple combat knife, lucky enough to land true. Ordinarily a mere scratch to a Primarch, but this is a blade of the Death Guard. And the Khan knows instinctively that disease is spreading within him, something that should be impossible. His muscles ache, his brow soaked in sweat, his strength evaporating. But still the Khan fights. But the Death Guard just keep coming. More and more they come. And still the Khan slays them. But for the first time ever, worry grips his heart. The enemy were gathering closer. like the pack hunters of ancient Earth steppes closing in on the great beasts of those times. His next blow was weak enough to be turned aside. Arms clad in algae green gauntlets grappled with his forearm. With a bellow of anger, he wrenched himself free and stood for a moment unmolested, before they surged forwards, hacking and stabbing with more diseased weapons, and they dragged him down. The Khan of Khans ends his days, he thought, not upon the sea of grass in one final, glorious charge, but dragged down and butchered in the mud. They wrestled with him, their filthy knives dragging grooves into his ceramite. They tried to get at the joints in his arms, groin, legs and neck, crawling on him like vermin. He threw them off, once, twice, but the third time was an exhausted heave. His body burned with disease, and his strength left him. A creature of unclean gods brought forwards a huge, rusted axe for the executioner's stroke. "I am Jaghatai Khan," he shouted, the passion of his words driving them back. "I am Jaghatai Khan, loyal son of the Emperor, and I have ridden well." And as the axe rises to end the Khan, the Ordu of Jaghatai comes. Ordered behind the walls, they have returned for their Primarch, and a White Scar leaps from his saddle right into the heart of the enemy, giving his life for his Primarch. And I've got to say, this scene was just masterful by Guy Haley. To get the emotion, to get the tension. We know Jaghatai survives, but reading this, my heart was in my mouth. I was like, they can't retcon this. They can't. But then, the sons of Jaghatai, his Ordu, come. Just great stuff. But we're not done yet. Thanks to the sacrifice of his son, the Kargan was free, and the Khan bursts from the massive death guard smothering him, finally able to rip the knife free from his knee. And the genius of the Emperor's creation went to work, beginning to purge the disease from the Khan's body. The work of Nurgle no match for the work of the Emperor. And while still far from recovered, the Khan went back on the attack, calling his Ordu to his side. The jet bikes streaked the skies, pouring fire into the Death Guard, who reeled at the incoming fire. The Khan, now heading back to the palace walls, is barred by numberless hordes. I greet death with a smile on my face. But another voice broke the gloom. My brother, to the aid of my brother. With the angels charge into darkness, the conscripts of the Imperium follow. The conscripts the Khan had rode out to aid now stood as one to aid him. Alongside the Blood Angels, they charged the enemy. And I've got to be honest, I'm not normally one for the human side stories we get in some of the novels. A lot of the time I find they're more of a distraction from the story than an addition. But man, this was impactful. The conscripts charging out to the enemy to aid the Khan who came to aid them. Now that gave me shivers. With a cry of "For the Emperor!" the light of the angel pierces the darkness, and he sets upon the enemy with fury, his brother Jaghatai responding in kind, smiling now behind his helm. And together, with the combined charge of the White Scars, Blood Angels and conscripts, a temporary measure of respite is assured, the Primarchs retreating safely aboard a gunship, the presence of the Emperor healing Jaghatai as they pass over the palace walls. And then, Jaghatai speaks openly with Sanguinius. On Prospero, Mortarion tried to sway me to Horus's cause. He spoke of the truth, and of Horus's rightness, and of our father's lies. He clenched his fist. I was the most critical of father's designs. But now, I see the truth, and it forgives all mistakes on his part. And as we begun the week, talking of Jaghatai's disagreements with the Emperor, and his use of the Imperial truth, here, after it all, He understands and forgives any mistakes the Emperor made. Oh man, what a finish. What a finish to Primarch Week. God, I hope we get to have a heart-to-heart conversation with the Emperor before the end. Just let them have just one talk. And again, how many moments of just sheer goosebump tingling moments here. Guy Haley really knocked it out of the park with this one. When you read it, you will understand. Really doing the character of Jaghatai Khan justice. So often we see other authors take on a Primarch only to give us something out of character. But here, Guy Haley nailed it. In my opinion, easily the best book in the Siege of Terra series so far. But as always guys, what did you think? Was Jaghatai right to ride out for the people? Would his death have been justified if it wasn't for Sanguinius? And is Jaghatai right to finally understand why the Emperor was right? As always guys, leave your thoughts in the comments below. I love to read them. As sad as I am to reach the end of Primarch Week, I think my voice is pleased. I'm not sure I could have done another upload tomorrow without it completely breaking. But I hope you have enjoyed it, and I hope you have learnt more about Jaghatai Khan, the true character behind the mystery. And if the channel hits 60k, you know we'll be doing the next Primarch Week. But until then, a huge thank you to all my subscribers. Your support really means a lot to me, it truly does. And if you're new, please consider subscribing to help the channel grow. And if you enjoyed this particular vid, then why not drop a like on it too. But with that said, I am off, and I'll see you all again real soon.